Hello everyone, hope you all are doing good. My name is Mansha Hussain and these videos are brought to you by Mahavio. So, I am your instructor for this batch of videos. We would be dealing with cloud and deployment kind of stuff, and after every lecture I will be giving you guide which is going to include an example and a step-by-step procedure that how can you yourself set this up in AWS. So without further ado, let's go to the lecture. And before we go to the content, I want you to picture this. So you made a model, okay, which solves cancer with 99% of accuracy. Probably you won't be living very long after that, but let's just assume you did it. Okay, now being very honest, that notebook that you made that model in is of no use to anyone, not even doctors, not even yourself. Why? Because real algorithms don't live in notebooks. They are either part of a machine, a medical device, or a software. Right. So this is the problem. Since hospital everything that goes around in hospital is very fast paced, you simply cannot depend upon running every cell of the notebook and wait first that it connects and then you run every single cell. So this is the problem that we have. So what does it mean by FDA 510K for SaMD? Simply means software as a medical device. So you made a software, okay, and then you're integrating that into a medical device. This is what it means. Cloud ML pipelines. Why? Because you have a model, and for in order to people to use it over the internet, okay, for monitoring, it needs to be deployed somewhere on the internet. And for that we use cloud. Okay, then there's model registry, and I'll be explaining that when we dive in. So the same problem, our model got 94% accuracy. Now what? Imagine a model detecting diabetic retinopathy outperforming ophthalmologists. Deployment required tearing down three massive walls: regulatory wall, engineering wall, and governance wall. What is regulatory wall? FDA clearance is mandatory before any clinical use in the United States. Okay, so you made this amazing Jupyter notebook. Okay, you cannot just simply give it to people, to doctors to use it. Obviously, you have to do the clearance first from the Food and Drug Authority, especially if you're living in the United States. If there's some other country, obviously they'll have their own regulatory system. The engineering wall, scaling. You made the software for yourself. If it lives in a Jupyter notebook, this is where most data scientists do their work. If it lives in a Jupyter notebook, you probably made that for yourself. But that's the problem, right? Because your device is going to be used by so many people, millions of users. And millions of users is not equal to a single person. Why? Because the device is going to work differently there. It is probably going to crash. Then there's governance wall. Proving the production model is identical to the validated version is a core legal requirement. Okay, moving on. Software as a medical devices, we already did the underlying foundation of that. You made a software and then you want to integrate it into a medical device. This is the thing you have to do. What are the examples? AI, ECG interpreter, radiology AI, sepsis prediction. Okay, this is in this case this is mostly related to AI because AI is mostly non-deterministic, and we are going to look that. Okay, FTA pathways for AI intervention. Okay, there are three types of pathways for that. The one we are going to deal with is 510. Okay, I'm going to go through all of this. What does this mean? It means that this is the minimum amount of research that you have to show to FDA for the type of device, for the type of algorithm you are dealing with. If there's a pre-market notification, what does this mean? 510 is basically used when you have just made an improved version of something that is already existing in the market. And for this, you have to show 3 to 6 months of research. What is de novo? Novel technology. Meaning, there isn't something like this in the market and you're introducing something new. But only if it's low to moderate risk. And for that, you have to show 6 to 12 months of your research. And lastly, the same thing that you are introducing something new, but it is for high risk, meaning there can be a life and death situation. F510 cleared means device is substantially equivalent to legally market predicate. What is a predicate? An existing device. Like we said, the predicate concept, substantially equivalence. Okay. Is based on proving your device is equivalent to legally marketed predicate. There is some device that is already in the market that is working fine, okay, and for 510 it only means that you have an improved version of that. Same intent use, it is used for same intention. Like we said, if there's a radiology AI, then this should also be dedicated to radiology AI. Technical specs, if you are doing it for one technical specs, same or different tech that raises new safety concerns, it is based on the similar technology. Okay, then there's strategy. Find your predicate before you build, before you start. This is what we say, this is what we call market research, competitive analysis, right? You have to find where is the underlying problem. If you think, okay, there's something, if they are performing 80%, okay, can I increase that to 90%? Can I increase that to 85%? We have to first go for the predicate, the pre-existing, what is in the market that is available, what are people using. 10 pillars of F510 submission. So there are 10 pillars, that 10 sections that you have to go through if you are introducing a new device. That is device description, what your device does, equivalence argument, something that is related to the predicate, software document, SDS, algorithm description, what are the things, model types you are using, features, training data, what data you trained this on, training slash validation, demographics, you have to show each and everything, the size, the labeling methodology, performance testing, sensitivity, specificity, AUG curve, and the subgroup analysis, cybersecurity, usability testing, labeling, post-market plan. If the device is there, what are you gonna do for deployment and scaling? Like we said, you made the model, okay, you are gonna deploy it. What are you gonna do for the scaling? Labeling includes the instructions that so that people can use it properly, which is very much needed for medical devices, because in one way or another with medical devices you can be injuring someone. Okay, challenges when devices learn. Classical devices are static, this is what we know, thermometers, but AI is dynamic. AI does not reproduce same response for same prompt. Okay, this is the problem with AI. The classical devices, they are deterministic. For every same response they are going to same output, for same input same output. The FDA's 2021 action plan introduces these two things: predetermined change control plan, in which we have to describe and pre-approve updates post clearance. Once it has been cleared, then you have to perform this. GMLP, good practices. The good practices for when the device learns. Reproducibility, data management, transparency standards for AI, and especially for this software as medical devices, you have to be very much transparent, since you cannot just let AI control people lives. Because if your model is reproducing 99% accuracy, that still means out of 100 people, single person is still in danger, and human lives are not that flaky that it can be allowed to play with them. Most scrutinized areas: training data bias, subgroup performance, log algorithms. Okay, training data bias, what does it mean? You got the data from people, okay, but you only got that from India, right? And if you're gonna test, you're gonna run this FDA, especially for it is, since it is United States, that wouldn't be working. That is training data bias. You're getting data from the wrong place. What you can do is you can just go to United States and take it from different states. If you are making device for a single state, then you have to go in that state and take it from the different areas. This is how you collect data. Subgroup performance: if you are doing it for men, you shouldn't be performing the device on the women. Why? Because it is made on this specific group. Then there's log algorithms. Frozen weights are easier to clear than live learners. MLOps gaps: since we just established that a Jupyter notebook is not a medical product scenario, retraining occurs, pre-processing changes, and drift begins. How do you audit this? MLOps is the validated manufacturing process for AI. Okay, this is what we use. It ensures every batch model version is documented and repeatable. Reproducible pipelines, model registry tracking, and deployment governance. MLOps is basically a pipeline that you have to keep in order to keep your AI product running. Okay, not only AI product, it can be classical machine learning product. Okay, When new data comes, it retrains itself and then it performs the previous steps that they are included. New data comes, pre-processing happens, model trains, evaluation happens. If it's better, it just goes in. And then version 1 is converted into version 2. Right. This is how the normal pipeline works. And this is what we have to use for our models when they are deployed somewhere. Obviously, I cannot, for example, I made this device, it has version 1, right? Now this has to be connected to somewhere else where it is being monitored, the results are being monitored, and each and everything. It might have something, it might have a chip that does all this. This is why these things are connected to IoT, Internet of Things. These things are being monitored somewhere. Okay. Now I cannot just simply, this was my V1 and now I performed from 85% to I went 87%. Obviously 87 is better. I cannot just simply take all those devices from the market that were doing performing 85% and you know just swap them with 87%. That is very wrong. You cannot do this. Nobody does this. Okay, so how do we go from version 1 to version 2? By MLOps. New data comes, it retrained itself, and the model is registered from version 1 to version 2, meaning this is automatically changed in each and every device that there is. The cloud ML pipeline, the assembly line, what we just talked about, ingestion, pre-processing, training, evaluation, registration, and deployment. So all of this happens on its own. Okay, you don't really have to do anything in it because once the pipeline is made, all you have to do is with a single button, it is going to repeat itself and it is automatically going to be deployed. This is what ML Ops is all about. Now, obviously, two major cloud platforms, I'm sure Azure would also have one of their own pipeline, AI pipeline stuff. But Google Cloud Platform offers VERTEX AI and AWS offers SageMaker. So for this, we are going with SageMaker since AWS is the biggest cloud service provider there is. And the best part is that if you know something about AWS, you can really work with your job placements and stuff. And since everything is about AI nowadays, the only thing that you have to do is grasp your concepts. This is what I tell all my students. Theory and concept is more important now than ever because AI is far better coder than you, but it is not a better engineer. Now you would say that there are models, Opus, and a few days back Mythos got released, which is absolutely scary, but not everybody would be using that, you know. So you have to be really good with your concepts, what to use and when to use and how to connect these things. System design. AI is far better coder than you. You just have to give AWS your AI your credentials, AWS, and that too in a .env, so it can simply just take what's necessary and it is going to perform all this on your own. Okay, model registry, a single source of truth. So this is what is kept in mind when they are making software as a medical devices. What model registry? A single source of truth. It isn't possible that there's a device, an identical device with two separate models. Okay, it is just not possible. Why? Because they keep this in check. The version 1 always stays version 1 until there's a version 2 and it's allowed for all devices, and the previous one is never deleted. The golden rule. Regulated models are never deleted, they are only archived. Regulators may demand 2023 version of a model in 2026. This is kept as a single source of truth. For example, if this is V1 and we upgrade it to V2, then every device that had V1 would be upgraded to V2 and the V1 would never be deleted. So this is what it means by model registry. The regulated ML lifecycle. FDA 510 requirements. Training data documentation. This includes the versioning and registry, metadata, reproducible model building. What does it mean? You've made a same pipeline with separate data, it would be going through the same procedure. Performance on subgroups, evaluation step with stratified metrics, post-market surveillance once it is out. Okay, monitoring is a very big part of your ML lifecycle and a huge part because since it's trained on real data, it should be also kept in mind how that it is performing so that it can be improved, and that is why there are many versions of these things. Change control, like we previously said, model registry approval workflow. There would be a manual, this model, this approval is not totally dependent on AI. There should be a human under whose surveillance this change is made. Because yet again, you cannot simply let AI control over humans' lives like this. Top 5 pitfalls in health AI. Building first, regulating second, strategy must be defined before model architecture. You cannot just simply go down on the document. You have to see for yourself how are you taking through. This is what I mean by you need to be good at system design. Data documentation as an afterthought. FDA needs a clear province of collection and labeling. Neglecting subgroup analysis. 72% total accuracy is failure if 70% is minority groups. Who are you conducting this on? It is very important. Everyone is different, regions are different, sexes are different, races are different. Disposable version, treating model version as temporary instead of auditable legal records. Mistake clearance for completion, 510K is a start, surveillance is permanent obligation. So this was it for this lecture. So what did we go through? We understood the 510K regulation for making a SaMD, okay? And then we went through a normal pipeline, what happened, and will be guiding you, giving you a guide to set this up on AWS SageMaker, because this is what we are using for our pipeline. MLOps, amazing. So yes, this would be it. If you want to try it yourself, the concept is fine. If you want to try it yourself, I would be giving you a guide which will help you go through a step by step to how to achieve this pipeline. So this was for this video. Hope to see you all again.